something. Like, I mean, you're stay consistent with, like, you know, we are humans, we are love, you know, like, and I'm very glad to have your voice here again today. Thank you again. Tell us, where can we find this One Great Work Network? Talk about it.
Yeah, One Great Work Network, awesome place, and my links are on there. I usually just send people to endevil.life. That's where all
Yes,
my
sorry.
stuff's at. And
Right.
or freedomundernaturallaw.com. We're gearing up for Funnel 5 in February 21st and 22nd. So that's something for people to check out too.
Awesome. Yes, I will have those links. All of those links will be below, and people can scroll and click and learn more. So yes, endevil.life. Tell us about this End Evil. That's the name of your podcast. That's the inspiration for your raison d'etre. Like, I guess I don't know how to speak French, but I mean, tell us, like, why End Evil?
Okay, well, before I even go there, I just wanted to say that episode we did with the Black Pill Digest, that was a big marker point for me, because getting to be on an interview with Freeman Fly was a real big deal for me, because back when I first started looking at the skies and wondering about the weather engineering, and that came after 9/11, wondering what the hell happened there. Those things were the big waypoints in my life that opened the door to Mark Passio's work, whatonearthishappening.com, and literally changing the direction of my life from that moment forward. So getting to meet Freeman through you was a really big moment for me. And then just last month, getting to meet Passio in person was huge. But on Passio's podcast, as I listened through from the beginning, whatonearthishappening.com, he talked about this book, The End of All Evil. And he's like, you got to read this book. So at that time, I couldn't find anywhere to get a hard copy, but I was able to find the free download. Anyone can find a free PDF download of The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. So far, no one seems to know exactly who Jeremy Locke is that I've been able to find out. Maybe it's a pen name, but the book's fantastic, and it wraps up all of reality and what we're here to do and what's important in one short little book that you can read in a day or two if you're a real slow reader like me. And I thought, you know, this book is the perfect cornerstone for my podcast. So I built my podcast around the concept of we can end evil. And just like we clean up a room, we can sweep up the dust, we can stop doing evil things, is basically what it amounts to. Is stop stealing, like Mark puts it, you know, if you really want to boil it down. Stop stealing from one another. And all these forms of stealing that we do are, you know, we could go through all that, but, you know, that's basically the essence of the podcast, is to help redefine this concept of evil, because I think people tend to think of evil as like stuff out of the movies, a Satan with horns, you know, these dogmatic religions that teach you that evil's like eating the wrong thing on the wrong day of the week or growing your hair wrong or something. Whereas evil, as I put it in every episode, is the destruction of freedom.
Right. Yeah, that is the real dichotomy. There's freedom and not freedom, slavery, right? I mean, you got love and fear. Like the slavery comes from the fear, and the freedom comes from the love. I think it's pretty black and white. I mean, it's really easy for even children to understand, like, what is evil and what good is. You know, I mean, that's the basis of the religions, to keep people on the path of, you know, and the religions we know that they are used for control purposes, but still, I mean, I'm kind of getting off track here, but this End of All Evil it's not just a book, it's the mission, right? It's why we're reincarnating again. Like, you know, we're here to clean up this godforsaken earth that it's getting really dark around here. And like there's some of us are willing to endure the pain and the trauma to have a chance to be here and to act in the world in the now, and present. And you're taking every chance you can to to do what's right and to use your voice. Tell me, you do your show every Thursday?
Yeah, every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 p.m. Eastern. And we do interviews. Sometimes I do presentations. Sometimes I do live roundtables. And once a month has been for the past 3 years now, almost 3 years, the One Great Work Warriors, which is me and a team of 5 other gentlemen. And we formed a group and just started meeting every week. And then we put out 1 episode a month on whatever topic. We kind of vote on our topics. We have our own little process. It's kind of like a mastermind meeting. And that's been a cool development to have a little crew I work with. And those guys are fantastic. And yeah.
It's really good. So so every Thursday you'll have something for the listeners, and so you're there live and they can interact with you in the comments and such.
Yeah, I try to keep the as much as I hate ScrewTube, it's kind of the most popular way. And starting out in the podcasting, it's been a struggle all along for me to reach anybody. I remember my first podcast and my first presentations, it was like the low digits, trying to get above 10 was a big deal, listeners for an episode, Yeah. Looking back, I've been doing it since 2020. And now in my, I have this where my website is housed. You might know Nathan Frazier. He started this podcasting website that I still use because I like to support people instead of giant corporations whenever possible. It has a counter, and I caught it this year. I went well past 100,000 downloads of my podcast. So, it's reached some ears now that I've been doing it so long. So that's a tribute to perseverance, even though it feels like when you're trying something, you're not getting anywhere. If you just keep working at it, you're going to get somewhere if you don't give up.
Right.
And that's the same thing with evil. People generally want to say like, oh, you can't rid the world of evil. That'll never happen. And I'm like, okay, well, it depends how you're looking at it. If you zoom completely out and look at it from like a philosophy, objective point of view, yeah, there's always going to be some evil. That's a real concept, just like the yin yang, white and black, dark and light, hot and cold. They're ends of a spectrum, sure. But in terms of the human experience, and we're in these human bodies, we don't have to do wrong things to one another. We don't have to steal. We don't have to rape people. We don't have to murder people. We don't have to form governments that fleece people for their money. We don't have to tax people. We don't have to coerce people to do things they don't want to do, and we don't have to lie. And really all we have to do is refrain from doing those things, and the world can clean up, and we can create a better future for our children and their grandchildren if we just stop doing those shitty things. And so that's basically the message I chose to bring to the public.
And those shitty things, that's normal. It's the culture that we do, and we're trained to think that it's okay to do the shitty things, and that's how are you going to survive if you don't steal from your neighbors? It takes a lot to knock people out of that mindset of like, even like Alex Jones. Our friend Mark was on with Alex Jones the first time he was on. I remember watching that day, and after Mark like went off the stage, and he was talking about natural law and talking about like doing right and good, to like this chasm of anyway, But so like after Mark is gone, Alex, he does this little bit where he looks in the camera and he says, "I'm gonna eat my neighbors." I'm, I was like amazed that, it's just like a few minutes later after Mark is like, "Oh, we can be good and not harm anybody," and then like Alex is like, "Oh, when the world is done and there's chaos everywhere, I'm gonna eat my neighbors. I've got kids. I gotta feed my kids." Like, whoa, dude. I
Didn't
don't
get the
know.
message. You said you look at my show, I'm always positive, and
Right.
I do really try to keep the positive vibe going. I do really try to find the silver linings. That being said, I don't always feel positive. In fact, sometimes I feel pretty bitter. I feel like over and over I put the good forward out in life, and I don't get it back. People are constantly cheating, scamming, coming up short, being dishonest. And if you call people out on that, they don't want to admit that. And then, you explain things or take hours and hours having conversations with someone. You think they understand the philosophy you just spoke with them about, and then they clearly don't get it by their actions the next minute or the next day. And you're like, wait, weren't we just talking about this and you agreed with me that it's wrong to steal? And then they're turning around and acting like stealing's okay.
Right.
So I do get frustrated and bitter. In fact, I was just talking
Me
to
too.
one of my last interviews about the scam. When the scamdemic was stomping around, I was furious. I remember
yeah.
driving around listening to Rage Against the Machine, just screaming like, these idiots, like
Yeah,
just
man.
cussing out people inside of my car. But I still would then get up and get out of my car, and I would do my absolute best to not bring that face forward, because I know in my experience of who I am, if I go into the world with that attitude, I lose all chances of teaching to people. Mark's way of teaching worked for me. I call it the spiritual bitch slap. I needed that. I needed someone to yell at me and be like, "Are you, doing the work? Are you making a difference?" I needed that, and that helped me. But I was ready to get that message. I was like a radio antenna. I was looking for that message. And when I heard it, I was like, yes, I am ready, and I do need to do it, whatever it costs. And I've been doing it ever since in whatever way I can. And but I do get frustrated, and I am bitter sometimes. But I push through that, because perseverance is what it takes to head down this path of ending evil.
Right. And it takes a lot to like have the smile, I'm there with you. I've got the regular job, and it's, I'm struggling and doing life also. I mean, it's not all ivory towers in the podcaster world, you know. So, and it's tough, like trying to be, in the whole scam thing. Like I was working in a place where when it first started, they were like, "You got to wear the mask. Oh, it's just 2 weeks. Don't worry." And then, you know, then I'm quitting my job after 2 weeks. Like I thought you said 2 weeks, like, and then everything crumbles. And then like, you know, I I was leaving Walmart one time, and there were people going in, and thought I was being nice. I was like, "Hey, you don't have to wear that mask." And the husband like screamed bloody murder at me. He's like, "My wife's got cancer, and how am I gonna protect her?" And rah rah rah, and yelling at me. I'm like, "Whoa!" And so I get it, dude. And the way that they push it and push it, and they take away all our money, and they make us total slaves, and and we're all bent over the barrel and fighting each other. Crabs in the barrel, right?
Right.
So it is
And I
tough to
think
like
that's,
be nice and happy in spite of all that. Go
hell
ahead.
yeah. And that's like a misconception that the alternative media, or whatever you would want to call it, from the manifestation folks to the all you have to do is think positive
Manifestation.
kind of bullshit, right? Like
New age weirdos, right?
all this stuff, like it gives you this idea that, oh, if you just think positive, if you're just imagine yourself having all this money that you're going to be,
Spirit
and that's
board.
one of the things I try to break down is that no, it's going to be a rough journey if you really look down the barrel of meaning, what's your meaning in life and what's your purpose, and you really take that seriously and you really look at truth with the naked, make yourself naked to it. It's gonna hurt, man. You're gonna go through struggles. It's going to be frustrating, and I'm going through a lot of those frustrations. I know that would hit with you too, because you work your butt off, and you got a young one. And
Right.
man, I'm still struggling all the time. Just sometimes getting down to $40 in my pocket or whatever, but trying to, in every way possible, work towards these principles of not doing things the way everybody else is doing them forces you into making more difficult choices.
Yeah.
And trying to work around this system. I mean, I don't work around in every possible way, but I try to in every way I can. And I think that's a process that we all have to face individually if we're being honest with ourselves.
Right. It's a hard row to hoe. I mean, just even trying to eat good food, like that's a full-time job.
Yeah, they
You
don't
know what I
really
mean?
sell any.
Yeah.
So you got your own space to have a garden. That's
Right. I mean, that's really the best. If you can, you keep it up, keep the chemtrails off it. But I mean, even that, like it's like everywhere, like all angles, and it is. We talked about it in that just the chemtrails idea. Like they're putting it on everybody, and there's more of it in your house than it is outside because it concentrates with the way the windows and the circulation. I mean, and
that's only the tip of the iceberg when you consider the EMF and electrical.
Right.
And how it's all working together with the other technologies to fry you from the inside, and
dude, yeah, like the
people
jumping out of the building, tearing their clothes off because like in 9/11, they're jumping out of the building, tearing the clothes because they're being microwaved. You know what I mean? Like their insides are boiling, and they're like because of the anyway. Yeah, it's Jesus, dude. And you're like I learned about. You're up in Northern California, right? That they'll go up on Mount Shasta and they'll take snow samples and it'll be like all this aluminum. How the hell did that get there? Oh, we don't know. I don't know. Like on the surface of the snow. Okay. But anyway, it's tough. It's a really hard battle to stay, just to keep your own consciousness and your body clean. And then to like share that with others. Like, it's like,
yeah, I've often thought like you're asking someone a really hard thing. You're like, oh, basically you need to separate from the system, stop having, you wind up having to, I mean, you're going to go to the regular healthcare, you're going to have insurance, you're going to have a regular job, all those things
it's tough.
Push you to make these hard choices, right? What about, when they tell you you have to get shot in the arm with the needlecraft, or you have to put this thing on your face or whatever, like, I went through a similar struggle with you. I fought to keep jobs because I wasn't willing to put up with their Nazi treatment. And it's crazy how sinister people got with that stuff, like turning themselves into like Nazi police, basically, yes. And taking it seriously. And you're looking them in the face saying, really? 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 Okay, I guess I can't work here anymore. Okay, I have to go find another way to work. The struggle's real when you take this stuff seriously and start really trying to live by principles. I'm not perfect by any means, but I sure am challenging myself to try every way possible. Set that example, right?
That means a lot and to be there doing the show and to be still doing and still struggling, that means a lot. Because the listeners hear that, you're like a genuine voice, and
thanks, Sean.
I think they can trust you.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So like it really, the money and the struggles is like, but that refines you into the more perfect diamond of, where you, because you're getting up every day and putting on the smile, like that changes you as a person in the end. Because of all that effort, and then it becomes like that's normal. okay, yes, I understand that all those people are crazy every day. And yes, I know it's hard to get a job. And yes, I know it's hard to have food. I know it's hard to get to the job, and I know it's hard to have, it's like, to please everybody around that I care for, but then when you are that consistently and you weather all those hardships, it shows like how strong of a man you are. And I was trying to teach this to my son the other day, but he's trying to tell me about, he knows what strong is. And he's like, it's, and he's showing me like, and I'm like, yeah, but really it's being able to give all that you have to others and people that you care about. And then have no more strength and keep going. And you're climbing, you're pushing this rock up a hill. I mean, I guess I didn't really go that far. I mean, I tried in kids' language, but to you, I'm talking, it's like it's a constant, it's a giving. And it's like, and then you have nothing left, but you're still got to do that because like, that's my job. And I'm happy to be the one who is the provider guy or the one who's the protector guy, that's my job.
We did one episode with the Warriors about what does it take to be a man? What does it mean to be a man? And it's interesting because when we do these episodes, it really makes you ask yourself a lot of questions and write down your ideas. And the more I was thinking about it, the best aspects of being a man aren't nearly what you think they are when you really think it out. A lot of it's like bearing burdens. It's being quiet when you want to say something. It's not losing your temper when you want to. It's staying cool. It's using your understanding to have emotions, right? To be able to cry, for instance. Like that takes a real man to be able to cry and not be embarrassed by it. It's the opposite of everything the lamestream wants to advertise. Take all the men on TV and do the opposite of what they do, and that's what it takes to be a man in this world, right?
Yeah.
To be honest.
That's really well said. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. It's like the Homer Simpsons out there, like it's funny that people on TV are the opposite. It's true.
They all lie consistently, like they almost all these sitcoms and shows is just a series of either lying or self-deprecating jokes. They're either talking smack about each other and putting each other down, or they're telling lies, and then the rest of the show is them trying to get out of the last lie they told, and that's funny, right? But it's really not that fucking funny.
No,
because it sets an example for the children that's a normal way to act. That's how men act. When they get in a tight position, they just lie and then try to cover it up for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, dude. When I guess we're bringing up Mark a bunch, but when Mark talked about the meaning of what Seinfeld is, that whole thing, Seinfeld's a show about nothing, right? Oh, that's funny. Oh, a quaint little idea. But really they're occulting what it really is. It's nothing, guys, nothing. It's nothing. And at the end, like, they are psychopathic. They're videotaping somebody get mugged. And they're like, ha 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 ha. Dude, like,
making the most cowardly choices in every situation.
Yeah. And it's holy crap. So I mean, it really like clicked and wow, that is the opposite.
It's normalizing dishonesty.
Yeah. And then you look at the dude, he's got like some 20-year-old wife, and he's like, yay for the IDF. And and then you're like, whoa, that guy's really disgusting, and he goes on, whatever. I don't know. But then you look at the den of what the Hollywood is, and like the total evil that all of that. It's really weird how they've flipped. It used to be the man was like the strong man protector, and now it's like just get what you want and use others as trash, and like.
And they're really soft, like Friends was one we made fun of. Look at all the supposed. There's no men in the show. They're super soft. They're like, like they can't
Children.
do anything that
Yeah.
is hard. Like they don't know how to change a tire. They don't, it's like really
Yeah.
sad. But
Yeah.
speaking of Freeman Fly, we were talking about Freeman Fly. He had this thing he used to say in his episodes about like movies. You can always get the truth from the bad guy in the movies.
Yeah,
Whoever's
it's
the
true.
the villain, they're the one that spills the truth at some point in the movie. Usually about 3/4, 78, 7/8 way through that, you get close to the final scene, and the villain says the truth. You
Hmm.
know, and I always thought that was cool how he put that because the more I watch movies, I'm like, fucking Freeman's right, man.
He's often right.
And
Yeah.
then the
He's
heroes are always lying. They're like, oh, they always tell these stupid lies like, I'll always be there for you, or like, they're just constantly lying to each other in dumb ways that it's like, why would you say that? You're going into battle and you're saying, I'll definitely be back for you. It's like, no, don't say a lie. That's stupid.
right.
Why teach children that? That's how we do it. We tell each other lies to make them feel more comfortable. No, no, that's not
Yeah.
what a man does.
That's right. Yeah.
Be
Well,
honest.
but it's fun to have Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy
Yeah,
and all the adults work together to lie
yeah.
together to create an illusion for the
Talk about a
child to
conspiracy.
believe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really trains them to get used to government when they get older.
Yeah, get used to the
Yeah,
big lie. Quote
yeah.
cheesy. Hmm.
Well, I mean, so I mean, we are aware of the big lie, and we're alerting everyone to the big lie. You know, what do you see is like most important message that people these days need to get? Um,
Yeah. It's funny because the answer to that's in the question. I started asking, I had a strange upbringing where my dad was this philosopher preacher guy, and he was always asking the deeper questions. And I got in a bunch of trouble in fifth grade. I got sent to the principal's office. Somehow I got like 7 checks on the board one day. You're only supposed to get 5. I exceeded the maximum checks. And I remember he put me on this like regimen, and I was supposed to meditate for 15 minutes every day and then write him a little report. And the questions were like, who are you? What are you doing in your life? What do you want to be with your life? And I had to answer those questions for him and write reports for him. And it seemed hard at the time, but looking back, it was one of the most powerful things he ever gave me. And I remember going around at the age of like 13, 14, and just asking everybody I knew or ran into, what do you think is the most important thing? Right? What is the most important thing? And it's interesting. Most people will say success or money, sadly. A lot of people will say family, which is a better answer, but it's not the most important thing. And being able to answer that question, I think is the most important thing, is being able to think deeply about what is the most important thing. Why are we here? What is the most important thing for you to be doing with your time?
is the most important thing to think?
Well, I mean,
Well, to do the thinking of what is important, I mean, it actually
it's part of the
stop.
process, right?
Yeah, right. The
Of the
process.
real manifestation
Mhm.
process. It begins with the idea. You
Yeah.
you you have an idea. Oh, I should think. I should ask
Right.
questions, right? And then that forms this thought that, oh, here's some questions I could think about. And then those thoughts and those questions lead you to, this conversation in your mind. Well, I could do this or that, and that it really seems like this, and then that leads towards the actions that you do in the real world. And if there's some congruence in that process, then you're able to actually do things, right? And to do things without harming others, without without doing some kind of coercion on other people, or forcing them to do something they don't want, or taking something from them, or stealing, or the simple one we've been talking about, lying. That's like the biggest one. If you can take actions based on those thoughts and ideas on what's important, and those actions are right, in other words, they're not stealing from people and they're not dishonest, then you can live a life of meaning and purpose. And you can die knowing that you your experience here, this amazing gift given to you by the universe, that you did something worthwhile with it, you know?
Yeah.
So doing something
Yeah.
worthwhile that's important, finding your meaning and your goal, yeah, that's what's most important.
To know thyself and to do your true will, those ideas. Yeah, that's important. And, ever since I got activated into doing my true will, because there's all these distractions and all of life is like, oh, worry and crap and waste your time with TV and what are you eating for dinner? Like whatever, like all this makes you forget and then like boredom. Like I don't, holy crap, boredom. Like boredom is so far away. I haven't been bored
Right.
in so
I don't got
long.
time to be bored.
Right. Yeah, dude.
Too
It's
much
like
shit to do, bro.
exactly. And you look at everybody and they're like all doing video games, or they watch other people doing video games, and
Right.
like their whole world is being just distracted.
I'm gonna do a video of me making expressions about other people playing video games.
Oh, yeah,
right,
and then put it on
like,
TikTok,
and then
see
they
how
get
many-
like 1,000 views, and I'm like,
Dude,
what the fuck, man?
yeah,
I spent 3
really.
hours creating this presentation and only got 20 views.
That's because there's only 20 people want to think. Everybody else wants to be distracted. Yeah.
It's
So
easier. It's more comfortable.
Yes. And they make it comfy, and it's comfy to have a paycheck and a job and just do what you're told, and you won't get whipped
When I
into
started
submission.
listening to Patio and I can remember where I was walking, listening to Freeman Flies when he was talking about weather engineering, and I was working at the Superior Court as a maintenance man. I had a pretty cushy job there, and if I'd have stayed there all these years, I'd have a nice little retirement right now. I'd have a brand new vehicle. I'd be living in my $500,000 house in the
You'd be playing Angry Birds all day while you're at work.
Probably still be like, on the screen, shooting
scrolling
things.
Yeah, whatever.
My new
dude. Video
game rifle. Yep.
Yeah.
But I didn't choose that because once I really started listening to it wasn't just Passio, it was a lot of other content creators. I listened to Tsarian's work, David Icke, and all kinds of cool podcasts. I wish I could remember a lot of the smaller ones because there were actually some that hit pretty hard that, people don't recognize their name. But the more I listened to all that, it gave me a headache being in that place and trying to go through those motions.
Right.
I had to leave. I had to quit.
Yeah.
I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah. You see the cage and you're in the cage and you're like, ugh. Just like, ugh.
This is not me anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's good for you, man.
What were you going to say, school?
Oh, I was going to say School Sucks podcast is one.
Yeah.
That one's gone.
Brett
Venat, I think.
Venat, there you go, yeah.
That one is gone.
And Richard Grove.
Grove is,
I went to his autonomy course, and that has had a big impact on my life. A lot of networking there. Yeah. But, he was doing the Peace Revolution podcast back then. They'd be like
that one's great.
10, 12, 13-hour. And the one
16-hour,
on Thomas Paine, that really hit with me. Thomas Paine,
awesome.
And then I started getting Thomas Paine's books. I got into Lysander Spooner, discovered him through. I think that was Richard Grove's one of his shows that I discovered.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one, yeah, dude. I used to listen.
School Sucks. Yeah, that was awesome,
dude. Always, and the Red Ice Radio, that was kind of a big one. They had everybody, but some of those, like, it helped to get activated, and then you find, it's funny, you and I have been talking about Mark Passio and Freeman Fly, and those guys were pretty much the ones every day or every time there was new, they would click, and it seems like those
Free Your Mind conference first came out, man. I was like,
that's the first time I met Freeman, and I gave him a joint because I was walking in the building and I was like, oh, what do I do with this joint? And I gave it to him and he's like, oh, cool. That was the first time I met him. And then now we're friends, it's pretty cool. And Mark brought that all together, and, Bob Tuskin allowed me to in twice for free. Yeah. Bob Tuskin's show.
Remember him?
Yeah. There's a lot of, and those people like they're still, hopefully they, are still true. I mean, some of them, there were other ones like what about the there was that anarchist dude that he went full Trump, the
Ah,
bald guy there.
so many did. It was so sad. And then, like when the pandemic hit too, like you really saw the true colors of a lot of people that you thought were alternative, freedom minded, and then you're like, wait a second, it's weird how over and over you think people get it, and then some things change and they show this other side where you're like, what?
It's
That
weird.
does
They go
not
backwards.
align with what
How
you
do
were
they go
saying before.
backwards? It's so weird. It's like
Weird,
the
yeah.
dude from, he's like, oh, but I want the steak, instead of the gruel, from the Matrix. And it's like, how can you go back? Like I just had Etienne de la Boutique
Oh yeah,
squared on my
right.
show just recently, and
He's awesome. What a
he
guy.
is, yeah, totally a true principled anarchist. So
Okay, wait,
anyway,
before you tell about him, I'm doing
please.
an interview with Brendan Daniel, who was at SoundPath. And Brendan Daniel, he was hurting for some money, and he met Howard at PorkFest, and
Right.
Howard gave him a stack of books, of his books. Why am I blanking out on the name right now?
The government scam, right?
Yeah, All Government is a Scam, or
Yeah, right.
I have his book at home. It's an awesome book. Everybody should get
Yes.
it.
It's very
But
easy.
he's super
and-
generous, and he helped him out. He helped Brendan
Yeah.
out, and he was just telling me that story. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Howard's great, and
Hella cool guy.
he was saying that it's a one-way revolution. Like once you pop out, you can't squeeze back in the tube. You know what I mean? You can't, like, once you understand, I own myself, you own yourself. Politics is a mind control system. Like government is mind control. Like freaking religion is mind control. Like once you like get it, you can't be like, okay, I'm, I'll go do the whatever and be part of the hierarchy of obedience. Like so it is a one-way thing. And so like once you get activated, and then it's really it changes your life, and you all of a sudden you have love for it's a process for me to love myself, but I mean all of a sudden it's you recognize like, oh,
Value.
caring for myself is being like because like we're put into this self-loathing and the satanic, we got Captain Planet telling us, oh, too many of you on the earth, you gotta you gotta be in a dumpster or something and kill your family.
Eat the bugs.
Right, yeah, only have small families. They would say that on this. They had 2 episodes about, I talked about it on my show, but why you gotta have 2 episodes about that? They did one for everything, all the rainforest, this or that, but 2 of them on overpopulation, and then at the end of they're have small families. What does that mean?
It's crazy how deep that goes too. The
Right,
whole overpopulation thing.
dude. Yeah, that lie, the huge lie. But I mean, to have small family, that's a euphemism for kill your own babies in the womb.
Right. Kill your firstborn.
Right. Oh yeah, that's for sacrifice, right? for the Yahweh.
Goes
or
back to biblical shit.
Right. Yeah, dude. Ugh. Yeah. So I mean, it's the lie is really, it's like they go hard, and it gives you this like it. I don't know, you or anybody. It creates in me at least, or it had in the past. I mean, it led me towards Satanism. I was, a teenager, I was a Satanist. I feel like I did loathe myself, and I felt like I had no value, and I was just like, well, if I hate myself, then I might as well hate you too. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then I'm generating hate, and then I become this little beacon of hate,
Like a hate machine.
Yeah,
I've heard so many teenagers or young people, older people too, but you really see it like the 16, 17-year-old age where they say, I hate people.
Yeah.
People are bad. I hate people. And just
Yeah.
like, where does that
And
come
now-
from?
dude.
I mean, you kind of get it when you
They're
start really
weaponizing
looking.
it now with this whole Charlie thing with the murder on TV, like everybody or not, on their Squitter troll.
Squitter
troll. Wow, that was really a good. That was a great
Love
little
that.
Freudian slip right there. That was by
Winterism,
accident.
yeah. That's a
So,
good one.
but still, like, I mean, I saw a dude, like, I saw a snuff film by accident, and it was like I couldn't not look, and I'm like, it's like they're doing this to our brains, and then that, like, I immediately have compassion for the dude and his babies, and like, oh my god, what, these people are crazy. Look at what they're doing, they're murdering innocent. Anyway, but then there's those people that are stuck in that teenage hate, and then they're like, yeah, I'm glad he's dead. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, brakes, dude.
Think about what we do as a society with war and bombs. I try to remind people, I mean, it's harder to find statistics now. They stopped putting them out in Obama era, but before that, you used to be able to find pretty reliable statistics about how many bombs are dropped every day. Every president is pushing that button every day, 70 to 100 bombs. It's probably 200 now. Somewhere, there's 6, 7, 8 wars going on all the time. And child trafficking, we have no idea how much human trafficking and child trafficking is going on. Right now, some kids getting, unimaginable, terrible things going to it. And that's not what we're talking about. That's not where people's focus is.
On the streets of America.
And that's where we should be focusing, right? Because that's the most heinous thing that's going on. But no one's talking about that because they're so easily led and distracted by whatever's on the lame stream. And everybody falls into it. And that, I find that really fucking frustrating, to be honest. Yeah. Even people that are supposed to be working toward freedom jumping on this shitty bandwagon of whatever's the next flavor of bullshit. Where, what are we really working on? What are we supposed to be working on right now? What's the answer?
Getting
what
people
are we
together, working together.
Ourself,
Well, yes.
The self-work. That's what it's going to come down to. How are we going to go out there and change? Are we going to go out there and like grab, try to save all these children by myself, or take down the whole government, no. And it's like, that's
you're not
people
Rambo.
Miss the message, that Passio puts out too. Is like, that's never what he said. He said, do the self-work, set an example to the world, explain it to other people so they can understand, teach them what right is. That's what we're supposed to be talking about and doing. And anything outside of that is just a distraction that actually feeds into the hate machine. So we got to separate from that kind of stuff,
I needed to be taught when I was the hateful teenager, I was hungry for that, but I didn't know, like
Think about a bomb too. I thought about that, like a nuclear bomb, in school. When I was even in school, we would do bomb drill. Everybody would get under the desk. They'd make like an alarm, and we'd all climb under the desk.
In California?
Yeah. I remember that as a kid. And I was born in 75, turning 50 this year.
Yay.
But, when you know that there's a weapon out there, when they've advertised it to everybody, there's a weapon that could blow up whole countries. What does that make you feel the significance of your life? When there's millions of people in the world, 7 billion people or whatever, and they could just, couple so-called leaders could just push the buttons and we could all just be blown away. It makes you feel really insignificant. And that's what they want you to feel.
Yeah.
They don't want you to recognize your true value.
It's funny, though, that they don't need to push the button. All they have to do is convince us to take the shot.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Dude. They killed more people with that injected Kool-Aid than wars did.
Right?
It was really their eugenics thing. And you were talking about how, like, there's always these wars happening. But, for a minute there wasn't really any, the whole world was busy with this virus thing. They weren't really doing war. I mean, they were even protesting and stuff. And they stopped the protests, except for the ones where they burned and the lefties were going mad. But I mean, and the whole world stopped. Okay, we'll all fight this thing together. And it's like we're fighting ourselves. And it's like an autoimmune disease on
Oh, right.
ourselves,
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good metaphor.
Yeah. And I just spoke with Tom Blue Wolf recently. It's not out yet. I got it recorded. And he always says this, talks about how his favorite greeting when you greet another person is, "How are the children?" And that tells you everything you need to know about the person and his culture and whatever. And, tell me about, how are your children? Are they treated good? Are they healthy and happy? Are they growing well? You know what I mean? That's the future, right? And then we look at what is happening to our children here. And there's proof of the Epstein crap, and we can get almost 217 votes to release the file. Oh, you need 218. Sorry, F you. It's like,
oh, don't worry, it's all a hoax,
Oh, right. It was. Oh my God, dude.
Let me get to my next talking point here.
Right? Yeah, we need to. Send more money.
That subject's uncomfortable. Children. Can we talk about something a little more comfortable?
Right. Like I'd rather send more arms to Israel so they can bomb the children over there. And we know literally it's a country of children. All the adults are killed already, and we're gonna start. We're letting it happen. I mean, what? The world is satanic, and how are the children? Like, I was watching this thing last night about LA, and there's this street, Figueroa, whatever Ave, and it's all the hookers are there. And I listened to this guy talk about, he was like a pimp, and he goes down there and he works for the gang to enforce no girls are allowed to be here without a pimp, and they all have to pay to this one gang. And if you don't do what we say, we're going to put you in a bathtub with bleach. We're going to put you in a cage, and we're going to feed you cat food, beat you senseless, brand you with tattoos. I mean, and these are children. 11 years old girl, 13 years. It's I was sobbing. And this dude's like, yeah, I'm tough guy. His ego into the microphone about I do this to bitches. Oh my God.
It's kind of similar to what government does to all of us in a way when you think about it, allegorically, right, or metaphorically.
Way to steer it back into anarchy. Perfect. Dude, wow. But really, we are the children, we are kept in a childlike state, and the government just whips us and beats us.
We're supposed to be working for our pimps,
yeah,
and helping ourselves out to get that money.
Wear down them heels. Yeah,
yep,
dude.
Yep.
It's really fun.
Otherwise, we'll shove your nose in the poop.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Put them in a cage and feed them cat food. Hold them hostage, sell them to other countries for their organs. That's what's happening to the children in our country. And nobody wants to see that. And there's these people on podcasts that talk about, oh, whatever, it happens, that's just, some girls like it. What? I mean, oh, dude, I mean, this world is so taken by Satan. It's the whole concept of Satan. It's not like some dude with horns, like you were saying earlier, but it's just the the love of fear,
lack of care, really.
Yeah,
because honestly, that's one thing I worked on. One of the funnel conferences was how to will power, and I really asked myself, where does willpower come from? And then I even remember posting it on social media just to see what people would say. And I actually got some pretty good answers when you start asking around, where does will come from? And a lot of times it comes from fear or trauma. And so whenever I start feeling like, man, I'm frustrated with the podcast, nobody's donating, nobody seems to really care, not many people are watching, I remind myself that, oh, like you said, children are being trafficked, people are getting put in cages, people are getting fed dog food,
Yeah.
And when you remind yourself of the extreme trauma and the amount of, lack of care that's going on, that feeds my will to be a warrior. And however hard it is, I got to fight this. I don't care if, what it's going to cost, because children are getting, treated in these most terrible ways. And I can't live with myself, well, that's going on and I'm not trying to do something about it.
Right.
So that's where I draw inspiration. That's the silver lining for me, is like, the world is so messed up and so fucked up. I have to speak out against the crime, right?
And the words are your sword, right?
Magic.
Yeah, right. It is magic.
Words are magic. Words are our form of magic.
Talk about it. Yeah. Tell me, how do you see that to be true?
I mean, how else do we affect change in this realm? One of the best ways we can is word, and especially if we don't want to. Okay, you could hit somebody with a stick and make them do what you want them to do if you're really good with the stick, or you got a really big one, or a big weapon.
You can put them in a cage and you feed them cat food, right?
Or if you have a gang, you can force people to do. But if you're someone who doesn't think that's the right way to go about things, well, how are you going to affect change? What are you going to do? What is the way that we help people, not do these terrible things? I'm always thought about MADD. There was that agency, MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Oh, I remember that.
I think the original woman, the story I've heard, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not, it's still a good story. Her son died because someone was drinking. Maybe it was him, maybe it was his friends.
Right.
And she's so upset about it, that drives her will, that I need to create this organization. I need to get in high schools. I need to start teaching these kids about what happened to my son, so it doesn't happen to other people's sons. So she's dealing with this grief of losing her child by expressing it in such a way that she's going to go save hundreds of thousands of other people's childs. And she's never going to get her child back, but she can live with herself now, knowing that, I messed up with my kid. I didn't teach him well enough, but I helped teach, 1,000 other kids. So, that's the magic of words and willpower when they're put together for the right reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. And, I think about like there's this, I talk about circumcision a bunch on my show. And I watched this documentary, American Circumcision, and there's this Marianne Milos, I think is her name. And she was a nurse, and she's describing about the first time she realized what it is, and what, she's helping the doctor do the thing, and the baby's crying. And as the doctor's doing it, he's telling her, this is completely unnecessary. We don't have to do this. And she's watching this baby cry, and then she realizes she did that to her kids, her boys.
Right.
And that changed her forever.
Ouch. Yeah.
And now she's it's now her whole, that's what she does. Saves babies from trauma.
Educate people on what you're really doing there is a satanic ritual of traumatizing an infant right when they're coming into the world by, destroying their most intimate part of their body. How terrible a thing is that? And man, props to my mom who said no.
God bless her. Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
That's great.
Love you, Mom. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I hope there's a lot more moms out there that are soon to be moms that hear that and be like, oh, I want my adult son to be proud of me and happy that I protected him. Yeah.
You know what else she did was when I was in early years in elementary school, they wanted me to go on Ritalin. They said I was hyperactive. And they were putting all the kids on Ritalin back then. And my mom said, hell no, you're not putting my kid on a drug like that.
Good.
And I thank her every day for not doing that. I don't know how many men I've met who went through years of trouble, hallucinations, mental problems because of taking that extreme crazy ass drug.
Yeah.
unnecessarily, because they're trying to force us in this box. We're supposed to sit in rows quietly. Like, what?
Hmm.
For generations and generations, little boys have run around with sticks and fought in the forest and learned to find what's under the rock and jump in
Yeah.
the stream and hurt their leg and fall out of a tree. And now we're supposed to sit there like an automaton and stare at this person who claims to have authority over us. And we're supposed to remember all these details. I mean, school hella traumatized me. Talk
Me
about school
too.
sucks, right?
Yeah,
It
me
took me
too.
years after school having nightmares and stuff where I realized, like, I didn't know back then why it was so wrong, but now I understand why. They were
Yeah.
claiming authority over me. They were trying to force me to do unnatural things to my own spirit and physicality and psyche, you know.
Yeah.
And I rejected it wholesale. Luckily, I decided not to grow up, and I decided that I was going to find a place inside of my own mind where I could chill, even when they were all doing their bullshit around me, and I wasn't going to really listen to it.
That's true freedom. Yeah. Well, I mean, so like what were you
Damn,
getting
we
at
covered a
here?
lot of topics already.
Yeah, we're good. It's really good. Okay. So the will is created. So like when the baby is traumatized, that trauma creates an induced helplessness and fear. So that is designing that child's will for when it's an adult. And if if we can raise babies that don't have trauma, then they can like operate on a love signal instead of like
Hmm.
afraid and like protect me and no trusting, I think that's where, and getting back to where Tom was saying, Tom Blue Wolf said, what about the children? And so like that I think is important to
Oh, hell
have
yeah.
that. Um, to, tell me about what is important when it comes to like when you are thinking about the next generation and what they're going to have to overcome. I mean, I get like to do more of what we're doing now would be helpful and keep talking the truth and keep teaching the minds of the nescient. Uh, but what do you beyond that? What do you think we're going to be dealing with and having to overcome our next generation? What do you think about that?
Well, what you were just saying kind of brought this thought into my mind about something I've considered a lot. I call it fractionalization. When we break things down into smaller and smaller cells, right? Like the Matrix, right? Where you have all the human beings are in these little capsules, all separated from one another. They have no interaction to each other. It's very difficult for any of them to recognize that they're in these capsules because in the dream they're in, it seems like everything's normal and everything's cool. And our society is heading there at an accelerated speed right now. And so, like what you were saying about traumatization of an infant through circumcision, early on trauma, it fractionalizes a person, just like they talk about multiple personality disorder, right? It's because some trauma happens that's so extreme that a person cannot deal with it. So they separate their psyche into different personalities because this personality can deal with it better. And it's kind of a similar thing. It's cutting what otherwise should be a holistic thing into pieces. Normally I have my tree of life behind me, and that's what represents to me. The tree of life represents the interconnectedness of all reality. That everything I do affects everyone around me, and what everybody around me is doing affects me and all of life. And so, the more that we chop the limbs of that tree, which is care, essentially, care for life, care for each other, care for our community. We don't have community. We don't have tribes. We're all off in separate little pods and capsules, driving our own little coffin cars in our own little box screens. The more people are separated, the less ability they have to connect with the divine essence of reality, which is interconnectedness. And so we're heading in a direction where it's going to be harder and harder to see that interconnectedness. That, you know, if you spend time in nature or you spend time with actual people having conversations and relationships, as difficult as those are, they teach you a lot about empathy and care. And I've often thought about it like animals, right? Well, when animals are born, like two lion cubs, they fight. It seems like fighting, but they're playing. And play is crucial for children. When children don't get play, that's when psychopathy develops. And I've seen some great experts on different podcasts talk about psychopathy and how it roots to the lack of play as children. And so when you see the cubs fighting, like, or the kittens, right? The one gets hit by the other one. It's like, ooh, you had your nails out. That kind of hurts. That's where we begin to learn empathy through relationships, through playing with people, and be like, well, if I actually want to hang out with this other person again, I can't just hit them in the face with the rock. Otherwise, they're not going to want to play with me. And or when they hit me with the rock, boy, that did hurt. So I shouldn't do that to other kids. So we're growing up in a society that we're so far off on this technology thing. We've chopped off all these limbs of care and empathy. Kids aren't getting a chance to play with one another. It's all interaction through digital sources. And so communities have been broken down. You know, they called it like the mixed salad or the diversity, like trying to introduce these concepts to us when we were in school that we need to mix people together. But maybe that's not really good, because what's happening is we're losing the ability to have a tribe, to have cohesion in a group where we rely on one another and understand that if we don't have the men out there protecting us from the bears can come in and just take the children away, right? So we need to rebuild tribes. We need to rebuild our connection to each other in real human form, our connection to nature, so we know how cause and effect works. And so we build that holistic brain that doesn't get fractionalized into little pieces. And that's my concern. It's worse than death is torture. Torture is worse than death. That's why torture is so heinous. And we're going into a world where you're born into torture.
Yeah.
Because you're cut off from human empathy and your tribe and your community, and your feeling of purpose in that tribe and community, by being able to do something of value that protects and cares for the rest of the people around you, you know?
Yes. And like they'll deracinate us from our ancestors, you know, and that's the roots of the tree that we're the limbs of, you know.
Exactly.
And then they give us, they put us all in the pods, and then they give us new, like, oh, you're not a member of this church or this community. You're a gay trans clown that wears a, you know, like it, I don't know what it's
like so many millions of classifications that there's no way for people to connect.
Right, but then they'll connect through the computer with another gay clown trans clumper, whatever, and then they have, oh, we have a tight knit bond community with, based on nothing.
People we've never met, we've never shared any pain with, we've never shared any joy.
Right, pain and joy. But what they are sharing is like, oh, I like to put it in the poopa too. Oh, let's put it in the poopa, you know, like, oh, let's dress up like a cow and do whatever. Like, it's like that. It's clownifying. It's clown world, you know, like Mark with the shoes, you know, and the horn. Yeah, right. Yeah, like what the hell? It's like a mockery. It's like a full-on mockery at us. Yeah. And for us to accept it and be like, oh yeah, like, you know, to see I mean, you know, I'm old. Like I remember the puffy jacket music videos of the rappers where they got this big puffy jacket and they're like yelling at this camera, this wide angle lens, and it's all weird, and they're all like moving their arms and stuff, and they're all doing that. And it was like everybody started wearing puffy jackets. It was just like, what the hell? Like, what is it cool? Like, no.
It'll be like 100 degrees out, and people's wearing that shit. You're like, what?
And you know, they're all trying to be Missy Elliott with the weird glasses, and it's like, dude. I mean, in the cities you see it's worse, but I mean, you know, Yeah, I guess where I live or where you live, it's probably people wearing normal clothes, but still, it's just like the idea of like you want this is your community, like the deadheads, right? Like the whole leave your family, leave your home, and just go on tour forever, and just be in this one moment of like this perpetual moment of like seeing the white light, high on mushrooms, with like hearing the same songs again and again. Like, I mean, I I love the free form, the jazz style, rock and roll and folk and stuff. I love it. I do like the music, but still, like, I mean, the idea of like how they would just go through all these communities and just scoop out all the people that were creative artists or whatever, like and then they would get stuck to like Velcro, and then it would just like clean out all of society, just keep going around in circles, and then the cops would be able to smell them and they'd be able to catch them and put them in jail. And it was just this grinding, just this grindhouse of horror. I guess, I don't know, but what I'm saying is that like it's a fake tribe given to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like when we should be like at home and like, I love grandma. I don't care that she doesn't like the dead. You know,
Right.
I love
Right.
grandma. Like,
That's like a shout out to Mark Devlin too. The decline of music, it has gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's creating fake tribes. It's creating fake bonds between people. And the reason that people fall for that, the reason is because there's a deep desire in us to belong. We
yes,
want to belong to something, and that comes from a deeper. I always point to Viktor Frankl. His book Man's Search for Meaning had a profound effect on me because after going through the concentration camps, after seeing his family all die, getting burned in the ovens, he's asking like, what is the deepest aspect of a human is choice at the end of the day, right? And what really drives us is our search for meaning. That is the deepest drive in the human psyche and being, is to have meaning. And they're preying on that, and people don't understand what that is. We want to belong. We want to have purpose. That's what I'm saying about a tribe. When you belong to a tribe, even if all you are the person that maybe flattens out the leaves so people could sit by the fire, maybe you're the person that just collects the sticks for the fire. Maybe you're the man who goes out and catches the meat. Maybe you're the lady that beats the fur until it's soft enough. But you're serving a purpose that's helped protecting everybody else in the tribe, and everybody else in the tribe knows that because they're wearing that fur that you oiled up with the grease from the fat that the man killed, because he risked his life. And they all know that, and we all know, like, without thinking about it, that we're serving a purpose that's helping all of us survive. I've heard it called Ubuntu in different countries.
yes,
And that's being hidden and occulted. And the way it is like you're saying, this crappy, shitty version of it. Like, oh, now we listen to this kind of music that join this tribe. And you just
yeah. Wear this
because
costume.
you like something, now you're part
Yeah,
of a fake tribe. But you don't actually serve a purpose, and you don't actually get that feeling of meaning. So it doesn't actually it doesn't actually feed your deeper meaning, purpose inside of your soul to be here for a reason. And that's going to put people in a state of anxiety and depression and addiction, to all kinds of shit.
it's a big business to keep people from finding a meaningful life.
Takes a lot of work. Social media, the movies, the music, the religious dogma, the political dogma, which is religious also, the words that are used, the phrases. It just goes on and on, but they're hidden from every angle, and that's kind of what I've always talked about, the tesseract. I think of it like this box that gets put on our head, and we just get used to it because it's invisible. It's getting put on every day, and it's all these walls. It's the food.
Right.
Like you were saying, fake food, fake relationships, fake tribes, fake belief systems. all superimposed on each other. Every side you look, they got you covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is a woman? I don't know. My brain is in a
Right?
box. It's like,
Yeah, I don't
1984.
know.
It's like the box with the fucking rats in there. Like,
You see that
ah!
cartoon In Shadow, the animation?
Oh
He
no,
did a
I know.
really good job in that one. You should check that on
In
YouTube. In
Shadow.
Shadow.
I
It
just
shows
watched
like
Iron
these. It
Giant for
shows
the
these.
first
Like,
time.
oh, that's a great movie.
Dude, I loved it. It was
I like
great.
that
Yeah, my
movie.
son and I loved it. So what was it? In Shadow?
Yeah, In Shadow. And then
All
that
right.
same artist who did that animation did another one. I think it's called Kingdom, something
Okay.
like that. And that is just amazing. It shows exactly what I'm talking about. The box that's going on the heads and the injections, and then the
Oh.
shitty food, the candy, and it's just like pouring in the mouths of the people, and their minds are just
Oh
lost in all
man.
this distraction.
Kind of like Wally when they're like floating around on those chairs and they got
Yeah,
like
what's the Slurpee today?
yeah, yeah, dude. They're all fat and they're all like their brain is in the screen, like they don't see where they're
Yeah.
going. And
What kind of
dude,
Slurpee do you get?
it's funny. Like I mean, that's really what it is. Like
Yeah, and the whole world's screwed because no one wanted to clean up the trash.
yeah,
Just like I was saying, no one wanted to end evil. Like, oh, we can't end it. Just leave it in piles.
yeah. We'll just escape off the
We'll just
planet.
go to another planet. Fuck
We'll just
it.
get a new house, whatever. Like just move.
I just
It's
throw it
crazy.
away.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the throwaway society, that whole
And
plastic. And, oh my God.
that
What?
also points to what we're talking about, the lack of valuing the gift we've been given from the
Yes.
Creator. It's the most amazing technology created by the universe is your body, is a human body. 9.0, right? No human body has ever been created that's amazing as the one you're sitting in right now. It's the latest technology of the universe. And that is the most valuable thing to have. Every weird wandering spirit in the universe wants to be in one of these, and you got it right now, and you're activated, and you have this moment to live, and you want to throw it away on some bullshit, you know? Don't do that.
Yeah, it is a sacred gift. It's really pretty awesome to have a body. And I stress that to my son. He tells me back, he's like, I'm glad I have this body. And he knows he's a soul in flesh. It's really, have gratitude is really one of the things that helps keep the glue of the society. And when all those people are doing their own little
Gratitude.
yeah, it's like because then when the woman is beating the hide and the dude is like risking his life, killing the boar or whatever, and all this, like they're doing that because they're showing care. Like I guess gratitude and care are kind of sewn together.
Interwoven,
So,
right?
yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
And
a
that's
real
also
kind of money that's the real
currency, right?
currency, right? Gratitude.
That's also the importance of self-defense, right? Like my self-defense teacher says, whose job is it to protect your life? You know, whose
Well,
job is it
it's
to
your
protect
body,
your
so
child's
you
life,
protect. Yeah, right. And
right?
I'm
But
the
they don't want you
steward.
to see that, right? Those who are occulting this knowledge all through time, like no one wants you to know that. That's what bowing is all about. It's
Mhm.
showing your neck. It's exposing
Right.
your neck. You can't really attack the king if you're bowing down. So they want to train you from the time you're born to kneel down and put your head down. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what all these aspects of our society are doing. So you don't respect the value of your ability to defend your own neck, right?
Protect your neck. Yeah.
Protect your neck.
Yeah.
You got to put them in check.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, really. And then when you think about what genuflecting is, and like and how it puts your butt in the air, and in the old stocks of the old days when you were getting punished, they like put your head and hands in the stocks
All
bent
right.
over. That's not just like to spend a sad night out under the stars. Like it's so that anybody can come up behind you and do whatever they want to you.
Right. And show everybody else how little value any of you have, that we can do
Oh
that to you at
man,
any moment when we want.
yeah.
And
Just
there's
like
not much you can do about it.
the girls getting bleach baths and put in cages. Like it's the value of human life. That is what this pimp dude talking on the microphone was like. once you break their spirit, you can do whatever you want to them. That was the quote.
Yeah.
Break their spirit. Like a
Fucking
horse,
A.
you know?
Right.
Jesus, dude. And that's ownership of people. Like, and that's,
Straight up slavery.
taking away the choice. The fundamental thing of being a human is having the choice of doing what you will with yourself and your will and your hands and your voice,
And you do that by traumatizing them, by fractionalizing people's mind through trauma, so they don't recognize the holistic value of what they have, because they don't have it anymore, because they're trapped in one little small part of themselves, and they're hidden from their inner child because it got split up. Right?
Yeah, dude. Like when I was hearing about kids in cages, it's like, oh yeah, that's the same thing the SRA babies have to deal with, and like
Exactly.
the people, those black op programs where they got
shit, right?
yes, they got kids in cages and like airline hangers and like
electrocuting them.
Yes, yeah,
right. It's to teach you
it's
to
the same
fractionalize
playbook.
your brain.
Yes,
right.
Same goddamn playbook. The freaking the pimps on the streets of LA are doing the same thing. And then the pimp was also saying like he wants to become great and then go to other countries and buy women and go do the organ trade. And like that's what it really that's where you get up in the it's like climbing the ladder, like, oh, I can be the best.
Right.
Like, what?
It's more like descending into the pit, right?
Yeah, the inversion of like the opposite.
Spiraling pit of doom.
Yeah, dude, yeah, the pit of fire. Hopefully, if the whole feather of Ma'at is real, like, hopefully Sobek is going to devour all of these, like,
just going to have a healthy meal.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a field day. Like, we're really churning into the evil shit. I'm sorry I keep getting down there. I'm one of those like my show's always not always happy.
Hey, you know what though? Like you were saying, I've looked at Wake the Dead. It's incredible the work you've done.
Oh man, thank
how
you.
many episodes you've done and how many amazing people you've interviewed. I was scrolling through and just like, damn, dude, Sean talked to that person. Holy shit. You've talked to so many people and done so much amazing work. You have a whole career. And so, we each speak in our own flavor, right? And like some people need, like I said, I needed the spiritual bitch slap from Mark Passio. The way you speak's going to reach someone, and certain people are going to be turned off by my positivity, and they'll be like, why is that guy so positive when shit's so fucked up, So we each have our own way of doing it, and your way is all good, man. It's you.
Thanks,
it's Sean McCann, and I love it.
Thank you, bro. I love you. Thank you for saying so. It's great.
Hell yeah. I should be saying heavens, yeah. My friend Jerry is trying to get me to do that. Stop saying hell.
That's a good idea. That'll reframe the mindset. Yes.
Heavens,
because the words is the spelling and that whole mindset, like that's very important.
Like bless you. Is that be less? Be less. You?
Yeah. Oh. There's always something. They built our language. It's like, you can't get free from the cage, dude. But yeah, like
unless you move like an arrow, and you're never completely free if you're in a world of slavery, but at least if you're moving like an arrow in the direction of freedom, it's like Richard Grove said, instead of being just a slave, now you're a prisoner, which is better because a prisoner wants to escape.
That's true. And some prisoners do escape. There's hope once you change the mindset.
Yep.
And to be a traveling arrow is like, when you're on a motorcycle and you're going on the highway and you're going faster than the other cars, you are safer because you see all the cars in front. You don't have to worry about the ones behind. You just whatever.
It's a lot harder for you to get distracted when you're moving like an arrow too, right?
Right. And I used to be homeless, and I learned from other homeless to always keep moving, because when you stay in one place, they were called humbums, as opposed to the traveling ones there's a different word. But anyway, like the humbums would be the real sad cases that just and then they stay in the wintry place, and they, and they hold the sign on the same corner, and the locals see them every day. They're not going to give them money anymore. You know what I mean? And they just like still
Right.
hanging
People
on.
steal their shit because they know where they're at.
That too. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, yeah, like about that type of shit in California. There's a lot of them people flying signs. I mean, you're up in the nice, clean.
No, dude, I had to chase the homeless people out of this property I'm on right now. People moved out, we're gone for 2 days, and there was people moving in trying to set up shop.
2 days. Oh, and then the government works with them, like, oh yeah, the squatters' rights and shit. Like, oh, dude, I guess.
I mean, I feel it too. Like you're saying, I've briefly been homeless, but I've had close people in my life that have gone through periods of time, and I have a lot of empathy for that situation. And in fact, I've noticed a lot of times people that have done a lot of drugs or have been homeless, they have a deeper level of empathy than other people. And in a lot of ways, they're quicker to see some of the things we talk about because they've seen the shitty side of it more than most people have. They've felt the boot on their neck. They've been locked up for not really doing anything wrong, but just trying to get some food or sleep the night or trying to find somewhere to use the bathroom. And so when you go through that, it does make you really see how fucked up the world is. So I'm not hating on people for being homeless at all, but I'm just saying,
right.
That being said, I don't want people shitting on my property.
Right. Yeah. Well, if they keep moving, then they wouldn't be trying to set up shop in your place. They would be going, they would get what they need and be going. They wouldn't be sticking around. And if they keep moving like the arrow, then the negative karma doesn't accrue where they're just becoming a burden on others.
Like a mooch, right?
Right. And yeah, Freeman, he told me, he
has great stories about living like on serendipity and traveling around the country in the school bus and all that.
Yeah, he inspired me a lot.
Yes,
he inspired me a lot, and I went to visit him a couple times, and he's very hospitable and generous and kind, and he gave me the advice to like always keep going, keep moving, don't. And I was like, okay, and I recognized it really did help. And it helped for my psyche too, to like see a new thing every day and to like have new experience and like to not, because if you are stuck in the same place and like, oh crap, I can't do anything, I have no money, oh shit, it'll weigh you down and it'll get you that like
the negative spiral.
Yeah, and you'll fall into the I don't know, but and so that is like some homeless people can be really happy and they can be living clean and good and be happy, and sometimes like that's just because they're choosing to not do the rent and do the job, and because they see it as that's kind of where I was at. Like I was just sick of rent. It was such a trap, so like it wasn't like hard times. I went into it on purpose, but anyway.
I don't know if you've checked out Shane Radcliffe and the Vanu podcast and Van Nomadism. He based on this guy Rayo who wrote this book about he was trying to live the life of a true anarchist, and the best thing he figured out was like you said, you got to keep moving. So one of the ways he figured it out was you live out of a van basically, and you keep moving because no locality can claim that you tax you and take your stuff from you. They can't steal from you as easy if you don't actually belong to one place and you keep moving. So people check out the Vanu podcast. That's pretty badass stuff. And Liberty Under Attack, he does some great work too.
Thank you for that. I never heard of that. But yeah, that was me. I was being an anarchist and kept moving, and I wouldn't be cold because I would go south. I was like an empty nester. Like I was like a retired person going south in the winter and going north in the summer.
Like the birds, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like the flow of nature.
Right, yeah.
Well, a lot of tribes, would have done that. They wouldn't always stay in the same place because depending on the temperature and the environment, it's better hunting somewhere else, or the temperature gets too cold in the winter, so we move down south.
Right. I think
Follow
the
the flow and the
synchronicity.
heartbeat.
I think the synchronicity is more prevalent or more apparent when you're
Right, that makes
moving.
sense. Hmm.
Because if you have been in this town for 2 weeks, you've already used up all the energy, like and then when you go to this new place, oh, you meet this new person, oh, they say this new thing that tells you go to this new place, and then you fall into where you're supposed to be, because your higher self wants to put you where you need to be, right? And so I needed to be with Jennifer to go to California and look at LA and really get a good look. And we saw people.
That'll leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Oh man, it was full. We stopped at a gas station to go pee, and there was a dude laying on the ground, and he looked like I just pulled into the spot, and it was right in front of us on the sidewalk, and he looks up at us and he yells, "Give me some speed." I was like, wow.
We're going to use some speed to get out of here. How about that?
I was like, try cannabis. He was like, man, kind of shuffled it. And then he was yelling at the women, give me money, give me change. And he was laying on the ground and he had his arm out. And some beautiful, successful woman, had to walk all the way over to him to put the money in his hand. He couldn't get up off the ground even to receive money. It was really frustrating. But anyway, and the people though, they had their iPad, I went into the gas station to pay with cash. They thought I was crazy. What's cash? And then they had to look up from their iPad to interact with me, and I was like, hi, I'd like $20 on pump one, and they're like, huh? Just this dissociative stare.
Yeah, wow.
Oh man. And everybody put up, their mirrors, their car is mirrors, their shades are mirrors, the buildings are mirrors. It's really weird. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but LA is
that is, yeah. What it's bringing me to though is change. This is one of the things when I wrote this book, I realized one of my biggest takeaways is that change is one of the most inherent aspects of reality. And accepting change, like vibration, all reality is vibration essentially, which is constant change. It's a dynamic, life is dynamic, reality is dynamic. The past and the future don't exist. Only this moment exists. And I used to say there's only two things that we know for sure in life, death and change. But when you think about it, death is just a change, right? And so there's really only one thing, and that's change. Everything's going to change. And so you either learn to accept and flow with change, and that's like you're saying, that's where synchronicity, you're going to find it. That's where you're going to find discovery. That's where you're going to find realization. You don't find any of those things by not being accepting of change. So learning to accept change and embrace change is one of the most important ways to do any kind of self-work or to the magic we talked about in the world. It's all about change and accepting and appreciating change.
And if you accept the change, then you're not having fear, right? And then you're not basing everything on oh no, everything's going to change. The Buddhists say, we suffer because we want to cling on to this thing that's going to change, and no,
it becomes not real, right? Because that's not reality's already changed.
Well, yes, but the baby wants to keep suckling the mother's breast, and it's oh, you're grown up now, and oh no, the way we want to keep things the way it is, and that comfortness, and I guess I don't know how to describe it properly, but I've got this microphone, fancy microphone in the podcast, but I don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
But the nature of the suffering is the grinding against the change. Oh no.
Right. Like the
But
limb, right? The limb of the tree that gets brittle, it
yeah,
breaks. But the
yes,
one that, can flop and let the snow fall off of it or move like this when the wind blows
right,
is
yeah,
supple and strong. That's like in I remember it talks about that in the Tao, right?
right,
The
yes,
strong branch is the supple one that can move and be dynamic.
right,
The brittle one is the one that breaks and snaps.
right. Because the movement is constant. I mean, even temperature is movement. Like it's like all light is. I mean, sound. So like it's pretty heady when you think about
Yeah, right.
it.
Life is change,
Yeah.
Either get with it or you're gonna get smashed by it or rolled over by it.
So your life has changed. Like you've had like this. You've created this piece of artwork, and now now it's there was the before time, and now you have this piece of work here, this
Oh
the book that
yeah.
changed my life.
Right
Tell me
on.
about this. Chris Jansen, forward by Will Keller, and
Yeah.
people can get this book. Tell us where we can find it, and then tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I hope people go to endevil.life and click on the store tab. And that way you get a signed copy from me and I send you some stickers and Evil Podcast stickers. You can find it on Amazon, but I prefer that you do it that way if you want a hard copy. I recently put a thing on there where you can just get the PDF for a $5 donation to the podcast. For people that
Awesome.
overseas, man, the shipping's so expensive overseas. That's been a struggle, but I've still been doing it. I sent it somebody for more money than they paid for me just because I want people to have this book. And you can also get the book, The End of All Evil, on that same page if you scroll down. And
Oh, I see.
yeah. So, but yeah, the book for me is it's been like a bucket list type thing. I always wanted to write a book that encapsulates the wisdom that I want to share with the world and future generations and my kids and everybody else's kids. And so this year I was like, I'm going to write this book this year. That's my goal. And I learned a big thing about setting goals through this process of writing this book. And somebody asked me, did you already have the name before you wrote it? And I did actually.
Hmm.
And that's part of the thing is how do you reach a goal if you don't set a goal, right? So if I didn't open the door and say, I want to create a book that's going to change my life, how am I going to change my life? How am I going to write a book that's going to change my life if I don't create that possibility, right? And that's, I think some people have trouble with this manifestation process, understanding how it works. You have to change. You have to be willing to say, I want to do this. I want to set a goal to do something. And then, the other interesting thing that happened more specifically was Sarah Cross, my friend Sarah Cross, who's also on the One Great Work Network. She told me about how she got her book written and she used this Amazon Kindle publishing thing. Whoops, sorry about the mic bump there.
Okay. No, it's okay.
And when I went on there and started filling it out, it lets you send like a really inexpensive copy to yourself so you can read it. And that really helped my process. And so it asks you as you're filling out all the prompts, what's the date you're going to publish this book? And so I was like, well, I want to do it this year, but I got to come up with a date. So August. I'm going to have it done by August. And the closer I got to August, the more real that date became. And actually, I decided, oh, no, now I need to have it a month before that so I can do a pre-release. So June 31st, I was done with that book. And I was
Wow.
blown away that I managed to do that. So you want to do something in your life, you want to change your life, you first have to believe in yourself. This is the positive way of belief that it can be done. And then you have to have the faith in yourself that you can do it by setting a real goal. And when you put a date and you say it publicly, that makes it more real. And that gives you the impetus to actually do it. So for me, the fact that I finished this book and got it done, and it's a hard thing that you're holding in your hand, is
Yes.
it did change my life. And it's pushing me right now every day to try to do things to back that up, because because I don't want to be someone that just says, "Oh, I'm going to change my life." No, I am changing my life because I said I was going to. So actually, right now I'm on a weed fast, which is one of the hardest things I do, because I really like my cannabis. But
Likewise.
I also chose this year to stop drinking alcohol, and so I haven't drank alcohol this whole year. And the hardest part of that was when I got to meet Mark Passio at the bar, and I really wanted to have a beer with him, but I got a non-alcoholic beer. But you know,
Those
like if
actually
you,
taste better, I've found.
they're not that bad.
Non-alcoholic.
You know, you
Yeah, yeah.
forget you're drinking it, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a drink, it's all
Yeah,
good.
whatever. Yeah.
But you got to set goals for yourself, and you got to push yourself to do things. Otherwise, you're not going to do those things. And
Right.
so that the book is meant to inspire and motivate and challenge you. And it's a no holds barred. I'm not nice in this book. You know, like I'm telling you how it is. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be suffering. That's why I chose a picture on the cover of Castle Crags. It's a mountain I like to climb. And it's not easy. You climb up there and you're sweaty and you're tired. You get to the top and it's scary looking off the edge of that cliff, you know? So,
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah.
Wow,
I
you
hope
get all the way to
people
the top of
are
that thing?
inspired. Well,
Right.
you know,
Must be tough, like a
the Castle
scale.
Dome, you can't go to the very top of all those unless you're like a really good climber and you got ropes and you know that
Right.
path. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you get right up inside of there and you look down and it's like 7 to 9,000 foot drops and it blows your mind. It'll give you a spiritual experience, especially if you eat some mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've done a couple times.
Yeah. Well, that's always healthy too. I mean, like it's good that you're going away from the alcohol and you're not saying you're going to stop mushrooms. You know, because that it helps.
Oh yeah, I recommend people to challenge yourself in that way. I mean, obviously not every day, you know,
I mean, you
doing things.
can't. It doesn't work that way with your brain. But go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I was just
Yeah.
saying everything's in balance. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. The So this is like a to set the intention that that's like an occult principle. I mean, even like Yahweh or whatever said that like it speaks first and then it happens, you know.
In the
And
beginning was the Word, and the Word
right.
was God. That's Luke
Yes.
from the Bible.
Right. And even the dark occult have to say it before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, they're all like, oh, revelation of the method. Oh, they want to show us. No, they don't. They're occulting it. They're like hiding it in the art and stuff, but they're still showing, you know, they're
Like when
still.
the villain tells the truth, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Full
Yeah.
circle, baby.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that you got this intention done and you done it. You finished it in half of the year. Like, man, if it was me, I would take forever and ever. Like it's always got to be perfect. Like that's one of the things that Mark in his class would. Perfect is the enemy of good, or don't. What was it?
Right,
Perfect.
right.
Perfect is the enemy of good, I guess. Anyway, but basically, because you can't get anything done if you're trying to be perfect. So that's my problem. But I know that these podcasts aren't perfect, so I spit these out like crazy twice a
There you
week
go.
sometimes. Yeah.
And you learn by doing. You know,
Right.
then you listen to what you made. We
Right.
think of mistakes in the wrong way. Mistakes are just a process of learning.
Right. It's finding the guardrails and like, oh,
There you
okay.
go.
And then, boop, okay. And it's
That
way
didn't
you
work
get-
so great. You know?
Yeah.
Now I know what works better.
Right. Yeah. Like that show that we had with Freeman that time. Like I got everybody there and then I was showing everybody a video. Like, I should have talked first and then did the videos after. You know, but you know, I know that now. So now if we ever do Black Pill again, you know, it's still on the table. I don't know. We didn't stop because we hate each other. It's just like it gets exhausting, but you know, because that was a lot of work, that show. But anyway, I don't want to talk about me. So yeah, this I'm very glad that you have this, and it's, you know, it's finished and it's available, and the $5 idea for getting people to subscribe. That's great. Not only in it that it gets people to click, but it also, if everybody reads this, then you have a community of everybody that has already read this, and then you can, you know, share the ideas amongst each other. Oh yeah, and then you all agree what what the ideas are. You know, you don't have to, I don't know. I think it's good. I hope you get a wider community, and I hope you get more listeners, and I hope you get lots of people talking in the chat, and becoming subscribers.
Well, really, it's all just to help spread the truth and the freedom, the message, and educate people. So, I could care less if people like me or my book. What I'd care is that people get the freaking message. So,
right.
However that works, we need to wake the dead.
Yeah.
We need to
heaven.
Slap these people up until they're awake and aware that we got to stop stealing from one another. So,
yeah,
that's what matters. But yeah, I do hope people subscribe and check out the website and everything.
That's wonderful. And there is a donate page, and this every little bit helps here. It's even on the screen. So hopefully people will share their kindness and help to make it easier to live in this Babylon.
Yeah, because I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And help out my man Sean too, because I know he is too, and he's got a kid to take care of, bills to pay, and we're struggling. So we need your help, folks. We're putting out the hard work.
That's
help
right.
us out too.
Yes, God bless you. And just on that note, there was a Bitcoin donation that I had that I want to say thank you if you're listening, because those are anonymous. I don't get like a who did it, and I don't get to send a thank you to them. So I'm saying it in the microphone. Thank you. I received it, and thank you. So I just want to say that because we said that. And so thank you, Chris, for joining us and sharing your voice. It's great. And it's good to talk to a real friend and that really understands the principles. And, I am more at ease when I'm speaking with you, who I know is true and right and good, so like it comforts all of us when you are the good man that you are. And so it is spreading a good vibration, and we are all thankful to have that and to listen to your voice. And thank you.
Thanks, brother. I can't wait till we meet in person, and I'll have to have you on the End Evil podcast before too long as well.
Yes, I would love that.
I'm due to have you as the guest again.
That would be
But
cool.
we got an episode, if people look way back, there's a really great episode with Sean. It had a cool title too. I don't remember right now. It's been so long, but you gotta scroll back.
we've been going
We're due
for
for a
like
new
5 years now. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Hell
well,
yeah. Heavens,
anytime,
yes.
man. Yeah, heaven, yes. That would be wonderful. And I look forward to all of our conversations. So please, contact me, be in touch. We'll talk over the emails.
Like
please, listeners, everybody, check out End Evil Podcast. See it on Thursday live, and listen on the podcasters, and show Chris Jansen your love. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on Wake the Dead.
Sweet.
Okay, recording stop.
This is the End Evil Podcast, where we speak raw truth. The aim is to impress you about the value of your time on this planet, to shine a light on the most important truth that has been obscured for too long, to give you the information and knowledge necessary to make true change, to move human experience away from suffering and grief and towards love and joy. Let's begin to work towards the end of all evil. Every week, we dig into natural law, trauma programming, and the mechanisms of societal control. We replace ignorance with knowledge, fear with courage, and apathy with action. As Jeremy Locke said, evil is the destruction of freedom. Go to endevil.life